ReefDudes is sponsored by Brightwell Aquatics and Bulk Reef Supply. Today we're checking out the Reef Brite XHOs. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. So, as you guys have seen in kind of my last update, I moved my XR15s to the frag tank. And I was talking to Thomas a little while ago, and he was telling me how much he loved his XHO XR15 combo. I've never personally used them before, but I've always had my interest kind of piqued by them and kind of see how they work as an add-on. I know they're really popular with T5s, but I always kind of question it with LEDs. But anyways, he was selling me on it, and on Black Friday, they're on sale for a couple $100 off, so I decided to pull the trigger and get the dual, or I guess the quad kit to put on the frag tank. So let's get this baby opened and see what's inside. 60-inch bars, those are some big beasts. All right, so we have snappy LED power supply. So we have one big beefy power supply that will power them, which looks like it goes to 2 cables. Now those 2 cables go into a splitter cable. So it looks like it will power all the lights. It did come with, looks like an inline dimmer, I'm assuming. Let's look that up soon and find out. We've got these nice aluminum brackets, which will mount to the XR15s. So those will bolt through the middle, and then it will attach the bars to the outside. So it looks like the rails actually just connect the inner bars. And I believe we have some exterior bars to connect the outsides. Yeah, so those will be our outside mounts to kind of tie everything together. All right, so it looks like we have a hanging kit if you want to hang it. We have 3 different kits, so these will be for each of the brackets. So this comes with enough to do 3 XR15s in the middle. I'm sure it works with other lights too, but I'm using the XR15s. Now I have 5 on that tank, so I might look at getting a couple more brackets just to make it all even. Otherwise, it might be a little bit slight offset, but we'll see what we end up with there. First, I just really want to see what these look like. I've always been kind of curious. I don't know why this is satisfying to peel off plastic, but it is. Like a big lightsaber. So, on top, so it's not a drastic difference, but it definitely does add a little bit of pop to it. Okay, let's see if we add 2 bars. I'm also kind of curious to see how much power these add. Someone else I talked to said they'll generally add around, not a ton of power, about 50 to 100 power possibly. So 2 of them is probably about 100. So we'll see what this does. Now the biggest thing for me is, because the width of that tank is very wide, is adding the extra fill light to fill in those gaps, as well as add a little extra pop to the tank. So now it definitely does add fill light and kind of pop, mainly with the blues. Now I am kind of curious to see if I put my radions to a more blue spectrum, how that will look. So let's give this a quick test. Okay, so it definitely is a little bit there. I wouldn't say it's a crazy big color pop over top of the radions on all the blues, the UVs, royal blues, all that jazz, but you do get a little bit of it out of it for sure. So with just the bare LEDs and no optics on it, you're definitely going to get a lot more spread out of it, but you're not going to get as concentrated of light, which means it's not going to be there to add a ton of power to your tank. It's going to be more there to add that kind of fill light spread and that color pop. Now I need to remove my old light bar and get the new RMS rail set up, so let's get that done and get these installed. Now the floating light bar worked fantastic on the water box for about 5.5 feet. This one pushing 6 feet definitely has a bit more sag in it, so it might be kind of pushing the limits of how far you can suspend that cantilever. Now there wasn't instructions in the box, so it's a good thing we're smart cookies and we'll figure it out. I did do a quick Google and they do have them on their website. And basically the one important bit I got from it is, sounded like we want to use the silver flathead screws, for the XR15s, and that fits in perfectly, so that will be the one we'll use to attach these rails to the fixtures. Now, as for the bars, it looks like they just slide into it directly. Those just slide in and we'll mount onto the lights. So pretty easy to slide these in. Now the outside ones will be attached with single screws on the outside. So we can install these ones last. And we're gonna do so just to make it simpler and make it lighter and easier to mount. I mount my lights this way, so it kind of goes front to back on the tank. Now lining up all these screw holes is most definitely the trickiest part of this install. Now, if I actually didn't have a wall right here, it'd be really easy to install because I could just slide the bars in afterwards. But when dealing with the wall, definitely makes it a bit trickier. Okay, now because I only have 3 brackets, we're gonna alternate. So one will be with this bracket, one will be without it. Alright guys, now everything is finally installed. It's been up and running on the tank for a few days. Now it actually does look pretty sleek now. Initial thoughts were it's definitely a little bulkier and heavier over the tank as I'm used to just the extra 15s. So we got this extra couple inches running the whole span. So top down it does block a little bit of a view just because my tank is so low. Now that being said, they do provide some pretty decent color pop and fill light, so it really does fill in all the rest. Now wire management was a little bit tricky, so I ended up using the RMS track for all of the extra 15s except for the last one. And all the Reef Brites, I kind of used some Velcro and ran the wire right along the edge and kind of tucked it in behind there to hide all the wiring. So it was a little bit of work to wire management, but in the end I think it actually turned out pretty darn good. Now yes, it does add a little bit of bulk and heaviness, which is kind of obvious because you're adding more fixtures. However, that being said, the mounting system is pretty actually sleek with it. It does have just the little X brackets that go right underneath the mounting for the XR15s. There's a bunch of holes in it, so you can use it on 30s or Kessels or whatever other lighting system you want to go with. Now that hooks onto the first bar, and then the second bar is only suspended at the ends by that outside bracket. So it does keep it fairly minimalistic, and I do appreciate that aspect of it. The inner bars are locked in place. The outer bars you can rotate in a bit. So if you want to just angle the light back inward, you can do that. And it does kind of hide the light a little bit more, seeing the diodes that way, which I do appreciate. I did just unplug the XR15s and just get an idea of what kind of par we get out of the XHOs. This is 14 inches deep to give you guys a bit of a reference point. And roughly center the tank, I'm getting about 158 par. If I go near the front edge of the glass, I'm getting about 106, 110. If I go to the top of my frag rack, I am getting around 200 par. Check a few random spots in the tank, about 200 on the frag rack, so it's fairly consistent. All right, so the highest spot, kind of right between the 2 bars, is about 140, which makes me believe you're getting about 70-ish par per bar of the XHOs. Might be slightly less because it might be considering the overlap, but gives you a little bit of an idea what you can expect from it. So if you have a wider tank, you want to reduce shadowing, you just want to add a little extra pop over whatever your current lighting is, I think that's kind of a lot of the goals of the Reef Brites. I have seen tanks lit with just the Reef Brites. I also see them fairly popular at a lot of frag shows. So yeah, first look at my Black Friday spurge of the XHOs. Hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, if you did, smash that like button if you're new, make sure you subscribe. If you got any questions, let me know below and I'll catch you guys on the next video.